What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Extremely Decent Video Game Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Jay Lewis, and joining me today is this fancy-looking scoundrel over here, Nathan Hodge. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. How's it going, Jay?
It's doing awesome, actually. I'm right in the middle of my vacation. I just got back from a 4-day vacation in Cocoa Beach. Had a really good time. Drunk a lot of alcohol there. I'm actually wearing my beer shirt because I still got about 4 days of vacation left, so I'll probably be hitting some brewskis later this evening.
Heck yeah.
But we did some surfing, laid around the pool, checked out some new restaurants out there. Had a good time, bro.
That's awesome.
Didn't get to play any video games there, but I came back today and I beat Journey right before you got here.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
So I wanted to open the show and kind of talk a little bit about the game. Super good.
Yeah.
The fact that I waited this long to play it is kind of wild. Very short.
Yeah.
But I felt like if it would have been another hour, it would have overstayed its welcome.
Yeah.
Without spoiling anything, the way they kind of wrap it up is just like, it was just perfect.
Right.
Without spoiling anything. And I like the way, we talked about it before about how the multiplayer mechanic works, and that was so awesome because you gain such a bond with the player that you're playing with, and it's like by the time the game ends, I feel like I'm missing that person,
Yeah, and you don't even say a word.
You don't say a word. You do so much interacting in that game without saying an actual word.
Yeah.
It's almost like I could tell exactly what they were thinking, where they were headed. And I like that mechanic that they have where, you kind of sing next to them and it buffs your scarf so you can fly and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, man. And I do think that it gets all the hype that it deserves. Like, that game was very awesome. The music, man.
It really sets the scene and the tone for the entire game. The music in the game is fantastic.
Yeah, I kind of like how the story's a little obscured, and I think that everyone probably derives a little bit of a different impression of what the story's meaning was and like what their ultimate feeling is. And again, I don't want to get into that, but I like the story. I like the story that's in my head. I don't know if it's the same story you got in your head, but I really enjoyed my time with it. And it's free this month, guys, so check it out. Download it before the end of the month. It's this month, right?
Yeah, it's this month.
Yeah, so download it. It's a free game, and what's it, about 3 hours, right? Maybe even a little less.
Right, yeah. If you're taking your time and really, kind of exploring at your own pace, it's a good 2 or 3 hour game.
Yeah, and for me, it's one of those games where I played it, and I never want to play it again. The memory I have in my head of it, I want it to be that, because I don't want to. This is the type of game that I don't want to go back and try to nitpick and
Yeah, I played the game to death, to be honest with you.
Oh, did you?
I played it so many times. I found all the secrets and everything.
Yeah, see, maybe I do want to go back, because there were some things that I saw that were locked away that I couldn't get to, and I had no idea what they were for. So maybe one more playthrough just to kind of try to get some of those secrets unlocked.
Yeah, I definitely recommend another playthrough for it, because it'll make a little bit more sense on the second playthrough, I think, and you can find stuff that'll hint at some other things that are going on. So it's definitely worth a second look, I would say.
Favorite part, hands down, is when the sun is glistening off the sand, and you're just kind of like skiing through it, and it's got that copper texture to it, and it's just sparkling in front of your eyes. And it's like, when you're just kind of like, the way you traverse the landscape is so good. It felt so fluid, and then to do it with a buddy, that was so cool. Like when we're flying through the air with each other and stuff, buffing each other so we can fly longer and whatnot. Like, it's so awesome.
Yeah, it's a very good game.
Yeah, I really liked it. So I just want to start the show with that quick impression. So let's get into some top news, shall we?
Right on, let's do it.
So Forza Horizon 3 is due out September 23rd in North America, and the embargo's up on it. Yeah. So reviews are coming in. My God. I'm on Metacritic, dude, and it's just 100. IGN gave it like a 95. Like, I don't see a single outlet saying a negative thing about this game.
Nope, and I'm pretty jealous of Xbox users right now.
Yeah, it's currently sitting at a 91 Metacritic, and for a racing game, dude, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it is. It's extremely good, though. I do believe the franchise deserves it. It's, in a way, I mean, it's undoubtedly a great game, and the Xbox really needs a great game like this. They've got tons more coming out, but this is a great start, so yeah, this is a huge win for Xbox fans. I'm super jealous because, of course, Gran Turismo got delayed.
Yeah.
So I don't have that killer car racing game that I want for my PlayStation 4 yet. So
what's your experience with car racing games? What are some of your favorites?
I've always been a fan of the Gran Turismo franchise ever since the PlayStation 1. I've almost played every major installment in the franchise. I was also a huge fan of Project Gotham Racing on the original Xbox. That was one of my favorite racing titles. I also played, rally titles. I even played NASCAR racing games.
That's what I was just going to say, is that's one of the ones that's a little more obscure. I don't even know, do they even make them anymore? I think
they do.
Do they?
I think they do, yeah. I don't think they're great, but I think they do still make them.
One of my fondest memories, and this is a major trip down nostalgia lane, is back on the original PlayStation, NASCAR 98, dude.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I couldn't get enough. That was my original reasoning for purchasing a PlayStation.
Yeah.
So I would bring myself to work, and it was like one of those things where I wasn't making very much money, so I was literally nickel and diming my way to a PlayStation specifically for NASCAR 98. And it's funny because me and my stepdad, we would have to take turns because he was big into NASCAR just like I was.
Yeah.
And when I brought that console home and I showed him NASCAR 98, it blew his mind. I remember, like, you take a little damage and the hood would fly up over the windshield, so and you thought that was the coolest thing ever. And the fact that you had to pit because your tires would go bad and you'd run out of gas for a game in 1998, man.
Oh yeah, I played my first NASCAR game on the Sega Saturn, NASCAR 95 actually.
Damn.
Was my first one, so that was pretty much a big janky mess, but I really enjoyed it, and I've been a fan of just racing games in general for my entire time playing video games. Super Mario Kart, I think, was probably the first racing game I ever really played, and I've been in love with the
What do you think's the best Super Mario Kart game?
If
you don't say Super Mario Kart, then you're wrong.
Right, because the original is my favorite one, and it always will be because it has just a special place for me. But if I was going to go with one of the more modern incarnations of the franchise, I'd definitely say Mario Kart 7.
7?
For the 3DS.
For the 3DS, right.
Because having that 3D effect in a racing game is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my favorite things to do on the Mario Kart games was back on the Super Nintendo, hitting the bumpers to drift around the corners. And if you could master that, nobody could touch you.
Right. Yep.
And remember doing it on the one track that had the ghosts on it?
Yeah, yeah.
And that actually had a shortcut on that one, not an unintentional shortcut where you could skip half the track.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Not everybody knew that, and it was hard to pull off.
Yeah, I think you needed the bouncing leaf to do it.
Yep. So, but yeah, I really think, man, it's crazy how far racing games have come. Me and you, when we walked away from the E3 presentation, I at a Microsoft, I think it was Forza that really blew us away. And just what they shown at E3 was like, man, this game looks really good.
Yeah. Like
the seamless, getting in and out of your friends' races. We talked about that before too. God, it looks good.
It does.
And it's sitting at a 91 on Metacritic, man. Like this game's the real deal.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with the unofficial Fast and Furious video game.
I'm telling you. So look for that, guys. That one's out September 23rd on the Xbox One. So what's that, Friday?
Yeah, just 3 days from now.
Yeah, 3 days from now. So look for that. Second bit of top news, guys. We have a Street Fighter V update, and for that, I will be going to you, Nate.
Okay, so this is going to be the final Street Fighter V character update for this season of Street Fighter V, its first year.
Do we get Vegeta?
That would be awesome, but no. Vegeta's not making an appearance in this game. It's going to be Urian, which you get to spend a little bit of time with the character in the story mode that they released as DLC, and I wasn't excited for the character until I got to play him for a little bit in that. So I'm very excited that he is a playable character, but it's not just that all the DLC fighters are now available, it's also because they're adding a daily challenge task to the game.
Daily challenge task.
So this is going to make it
Hold
easier.
on, before you go to that,
yeah.
How does that player, like, is he fast, is he slow, what's his play style like?
He could be a little bit different from the story mode that I played, but he's more of a slower character where you have to do very intentional setups for specials, but he's very powerful. So he just has a very unique fighting style.
He's like a tank.
Yeah, a very unique fighting style with some very unique moves that seem to be fun to throw into combos. So I'm excited to experiment with what he's capable of doing. But
daily challenges.
Daily challenges. This is going to be huge for me personally because I'm not a top level Street Fighter player by any stretch of the means. I've been a huge fan of the franchise, but I'm just never going to be able to put in that much time to get that good at the game. So acquiring fight money, which is the in-game currency that you can use to purchase premium content, is very difficult for me to obtain. The daily challenges thing is going to give you another avenue in order to earn this fight money. So I'm very interested to see how it works and how easy it's going to be to start piling up this fight money so I can start getting some of these premium DLC for free, which is kind of what we were expecting in the first place when the game came out, when they said that you'd be able to earn all this stuff. Now it might actually be feasible for a casual gamer to earn some of this additional content.
Good.
I'm very excited about this. It will be.
You got to take care of the casual audience.
Right. Yeah. Because
that's most of your audience. You know what I mean?
It's
only
80.
so many play it at a high tier. Like that's a tough game.
So they essentially locked out a lot of content from their user base. That's paid only for them. So, but anyway, this update is coming out on Thursday, so just a few days for that, and I'll be checking it out, and hopefully I'll have some positive things to say about Street Fighter V by the time the year is out.
Yeah, that's for dang sure. Next thing I want to talk about, Nate, is Grand Theft Auto is getting an update, and it's going to allow you to create a biker gang like inside the game. 8-person motorcycle gangs to be exact. So up to 8 players in a motorcycle gang. They're going to have new biker specific modes, weapons, styles, custom biker mechanic, tattoos, all new features, properties. So what's your thoughts on that?
This is just more awesome from Rockstar, right?
I'm telling you.
I mean, they gave
living up to the name, man.
They gave us so much content with the game already, and to release so much extra content for a game that we already like. I like everything about this. I mean, I think it's cool. You got a lot of variety in the game as it is. I can't think of anything cooler now than being able to organize a party of your friends and hop on a bunch of choppers and go terrorizing the city. So I'm excited to see what kind of new missions they're gonna have for us, and it's more awesome.
Just more and more and more. And
how could you go wrong?
This is coming off of not too long ago. They added that update that allowed you to do the stunt challenges.
Yeah.
So you could create custom tracks and do all kinds of stunts in your cars and stuff like that. This is the game that will not go away.
Nope.
I mean, this again, it's a 5-year-old game. I don't want to keep beating this drum, but the game's 5 years old, and it's just still constantly getting updates. Mostly all free updates.
Mostly, yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the way you do DLC, man.
That is.
That's the way to do DLC. I'm kind of looking forward to it, actually. It's been a while since I've been in the GTA world, and I think that this would be the thing to get me back in the game.
Yeah, it's definitely a reason to get back into that world and check stuff out. See what's
Start
changed.
a biker game?
Yeah.
The Square Gamers biker gang?
Yes. That's what we need to do.
So there's no official release date, guys. It just says coming soon over on their website. So just look for that to launch. Last Guardian impressions at Tokyo Game Show, Nate. They are polarizing, to say the least.
Yep.
I did check out a 20-minute playthrough session. I believe it was over on DualShockers that had the feature there. And what people are saying is the game is gorgeous. Some areas are drop-dead gorgeous is what's being said. Mechanics working with the bird dog are really cool. But that being said, they're also monotonous at times. In the demo that I watched, the person's trying to jump up on this ledge, and I forget the kid's name in the game, but regardless, the character keeps wanting to climb like up the neck rather than grab the ledge.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with Shadows of the Colossus, the mechanic to kill some of the bigger creatures is you would have to grab the hair, climb up to the highest part on the character, and then stab them in the blue area,
Right.
And it looks like they're staying true to that same mechanic with your interaction with Bird Dog, but it looked like it was a little jarring. And I don't know if it's one of those situations where, like, you're only playing the demo for 20 minutes and you're trying to learn the controls.
Right.
It could have been that. It could have been one of those situations that 4 hours in, you got everything mastered and you know what you're doing. It showed some interesting ways to use Bird Dog. There's a lot of platforming elements that you can't get to the next area until you allow Bird Dog in with you. And to do that, there's a whole lot of other platforming elements. I wonder if that will, bog the game down a little bit and feel a little monotonous. Like, platformers are all about fluid movement and learning how to get through the area as quick as you can. This seems like it's going to be a little slowed down, because you got two mechanics that you're dealing with, trying to navigate, the platform while dragging this bird dog around with you. I wonder how that interaction's going to work. Is it something that's going to overstay its welcome over time? Is it something that gets streamlined as you go along? These are some of the questions I have.
All right, so I like the way you keep calling out the bird dog.
It's bird dog.
It's a bird dog, for sure.
I think the kid literally says, like, bird dog.
I mentioned this earlier in off-camera conversation, and I'll mention it here, but I really believe this is going to be another divisive game this year. I think there's too much hype around it, and
I don't know that there is, though.
I think there is.
When I see the game ever come up in social media, it's usually bogged down with negativity, and most of the outlets out there are kind of reporting that they think people are going to be let down by this game. This isn't a game for the mass majority of gamers. This is a niche group of people that know about what Shadows of the Colossus were, and Ico, and these are going to be returning fans that have been waiting 10 years, and that's where the hype comes in.
Exactly. See, I see what you're saying, because I do see that the hype is waning now that we're getting closer to a launch, and I think that's good. I think that's a healthy thing right now for this game, because I've played both Shadow of the Colossus and Team Ico's previous game, Ico, and neither of those games controlled that well, but I didn't play those games for the controls. I played them for the experience I got from the game.
And to be fair, that controller was hot garbage.
Yeah. So I would expect that The Last Guardian will have what you could call a convoluted control scheme that may take some time to master and may not be as fluid as a lot of players are used to. And we're probably going to get much slower, thought-provoking gameplay, more akin to moving pieces across a chessboard rather than quickly getting through these levels or a whole lot of big action pieces. Don't expect that from this game. It's going to be a very atmospheric game with very strong aesthetics. and it's going to create a very immersive world, I think. But I think people should temper their expectations on, how the game is going to control and, how easy it will be, and it may have some frustrating elements in it that you might have to fight, like Shadow of the Colossus' grab system. It was very hard to master that system, and it was clumsy at times, but with perseverance you can make it work. So I believe that the people who are fans of Team Ico will still love The Last Guardian, but casual gamers, the mass audience, I would do your research on the game.
Don't get on the hype train without doing your research.
Right. You will be set up for disappointment, I think, if you think this game is going to be some grand masterpiece.
Yeah,
it'll be good, but I don't think it'll be like, the best game of the year.
No, and I think it'll probably be around a 5 to 6 hour experience.
I would be willing to bet it'd be closer to 20 to 30 hours.
You think so?
Yeah,
because that's what Shadow of the Colossus was, right?
Yeah, and I think that it'll have puzzle elements in it that the previous 2 games did. So you can expect to get stuck in some areas and have to think your way through them. So I would peg the game to be around 20 to 30 hours, I would think.
Okay. What's your hype levels for it? Like, is this a day one purchase for you? Yes. Like, I know that you love platformers. So.
I will be getting this day one.
Okay.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Okay. Just wondering there. Myself, I think I'm gonna wait for reviews to come in on it, and just kind of see where everyone's sitting on it. You know my taste in gaming better than anybody, so you'll know if this will be a game for me. And when your impressions come in, that's probably where I'll make my decision, And
yeah, that's probably a good thing, is to wait for reviews on this game.
That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna wait and see. I don't need to play the game day one. I'll just wait and see. People, don't get on the hype train too early. The next thing I want to talk about, also coming out of the Tokyo Game Show. Well, she's out. Look at that. Her head's cocked back. Metal Gear Survive. We got to see a gameplay trailer on this. I think it was about a 20-minute featurette that they did. A little vertical slice of some of the gameplay, and somebody who's only played like 1 or 2 Metal Gears. I have no fanboy in me for Kojima or nothing like that. Just looking at this game for what it was, it looked interesting to me. The way it was like I want to say it was 4-player co-op, so it was 4 different players interacting together to take out these smaller, I don't want to call them hordes, just like little villages that have let's say 6 to 8 zombies inside of it. And the way they were interacting and triangulating areas to take out zombies was really cool. One guy was attacked by like a crawler that he didn't see, and he had some damage done to his leg, and he was able to kind of heal it on the spot. Looked real fluid, kind of cool the way you could do it. Then later on in the gameplay trailer, right there at the very end, the most the coolest part of the demo, if you will, is when they went to they were going to this village, and there was a goat coming by, and they were able to use the Fulton?
The Fulton device.
Fulton device to Fulton the sheep up in the air, but it didn't immediately take it. It just kind of held it up in the air and created a distraction, so the zombies ran up trying to grab the sheep, so you had about a group of 6 zombies, and so the player was actually able to take a Molotov cocktail and kill all 8 zombies with one Molotov, and as soon as they died, he was able to Fulton the sheep out of there. So it makes me wonder if there's going to be a mechanic kind of like there was in Metal Gear Solid, where you'll have like a base back at home, and you'll be able to take animals and livestock and things and add it back to your base where you'll be surviving this outbreak. And if that's the case, I'm hype on that. Like, that sounds really cool to me. That's my favorite thing to do in zombie games, is to build up a stronghold and try to survive the outbreak. So if it has that same mechanic that it did in Metal Gear, I think that'd be really cool. Different, realize completely different, it's not going to be entirely the same. You're not going to have these scout snipers, or maybe you will. Maybe you'll meet some people along the way. Imagine that, having some badass scout snipers that can take out zombies 200 yards out from your base.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty dope. So I'm pretty hype on it. Our opinion is divided. Tell me why you're not as hype on it.
So I am a fan of the Metal Gear series games, and of course with all the controversy around Kojima leaving Konami, I feel inclined to not support this game just based on that. But I don't think anyone should deprive themselves of a great game because of that, and I'm a little bit jealous from where you're coming from because you don't have that fanboy
mentality.
Mentality that's going to hold you back from playing what is potentially a great game. I mean, from what you're if I took the idea of having the gameplay mechanics of the last Metal Gear game as a multiplayer survival experience, that sounds awesome. But I have trouble rationalizing supporting this game after what Konami did to Kojima. So it's going to be one of those things where I'll probably keep an eye on it just because, it's going to be one of those games that is going to have a lot of attention on it just because of its situation.
Right.
So, but at the same time, it could turn out to be a very good game that maybe deserves the attention that it gets. It's just a shame that it's carrying the Metal Gear name, I think.
Yeah. It's not only carrying the name, but essentially the same exact aesthetic.
Yeah.
As I'm watching the gameplay trailer, it's literally just reskin. You know what I mean?
Right.
The environments look the exact same, like a desolate wasteland.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. If Konami were really thinking about it, if they had called it anything else but a Metal Gear game, they might have been able to get away with this. But I think that fanboys are going to crush this game just for their love of Kojima. And it might be a shame for the game itself, really, because it may turn out to be a very fantastic game.
What do you think there'd ever be a situation where the fanboys can't stay away from it just because they want to still be in that world?
Yeah, I can see that. I mean,
because I know a lot of them are gonna bitch, but at the end of the day, they're probably gonna buy the game.
Right. I mean, if it does come out to be a good game, I mean, why deprive yourself, right?
I mean, I'm all about the mentality of voting with your wallet.
Yeah.
And if the industry does something egregious like they did with Kojima, I mean, we don't know the story. We'll never know the story.
Right.
But one can only assume that they treated the guy really bad, and that's why he left. Vote with your wallet. If you don't like what Konami's doing as a company, they do some pretty messed up things.
Yeah, they did some shady things.
Yeah,
sure.
so vote with your wallet. Let this be the first time we teach the industry something. If you do have that loyalty to Kojima and you don't like what they're doing. So, but as for right now, I'm pretty hyped. We'll see.
I think you should be. You should be hyped.
Yeah, we'll see. Now, the last bit of top news that I want to talk about today, as September 20th, Destiny's new expansion was released, and it's called Rise of the Iron. And I'm not going to read all the patch notes because I could go on all day because there's quite a bit of them. But I'm just going to give you the general patch notes. So you get the Rise of the Iron campaign unlocked. Requires Destiny Rise of the Iron and a minimum character of level 40. So in order to do the story missions, you'll have to be a level 40. What are we right now?
I think we were right at the last level cap.
Okay.
Which I think was 40.
Okay. Max light is now increased to 385. What are we, 320 right now?
I'm about to check my profile right now.
Okay. New Vanguard and Crucible bounties are now available. And the last thing they have here is that Year 2 Moments of Triumph will end. Well, it ended today at 10 a.m. So that's over now. If you haven't gotten the Moments of Triumph by now, you won't get it. And you know what that is, right?
Nope.
Basically, you have to complete this series of series of missions. Yeah, tasks. In order to get this badge. So it's kind of like a badge of honor is what it is, saying that I was here for year 1 and I completed all the hardest tasks.
Gotcha.
Now the Moments of Triumph for the second year ended today. So if you didn't have it by now, I don't know if they'll be expanding it, making it another week. That's what they did for the first one, so maybe they will give you that extra week if it's anything like year one. If not, it's just an emblem.
Right.
It's just an emblem. I didn't get the year one. I can't remember why. There was something on there that was just like, nope, don't want to do that. It was like...
We were at level 40 when we last stopped playing, so if you were topped out during the Taken King, you should be able to jump right into this.
Yeah. So in addition to the things I just mentioned, there's a lot of other things. There's a new daily heroic. Vanguard Strike playlist is changing up. A new Nightfall recommended light is 360. They're changing the economy a little bit. Zer, what I see about Zer? Good old Zer. What changed about him? Let me see if I can find it real quick. Well, just know that Zer's changing. That's all you really need to know. If you want the official list of patch notes, just go over to bungie.net and you can find it there. That's where I'm reading all this information. But that kind of brings me into my EDG weekly topic, Nate. And I want to talk about our history with Destiny. So I've been a Destiny player since day one. Die-hard Destiny fan.
Yes, you were.
I used to work overnight, so I'd come off my overnight shifts, and me and one of the guys I worked overnight with, we would run freaking raids until we were blue in the face. We put together a ragtag doll of fire team members. Some of them, one guy, dude, like he was living in a Jeep or a Chevy Blazer at one point, ex-druggie. And, like, everything was going real good for him. Like, he had a good girlfriend. And then, like, we got to watch one of our fire team chat members, like, go back down the rabbit hole. So that was kind of sad. But we met just some interesting people along the way. And it was like, you never knew who you were going to meet next. But one thing that was very unique, in no game have I ever played that was online, did you have people so eager to help one another. I used to tell you about this community that Bungie has created with Destiny and just how unique of a community that it is. And I don't know if there's a better community out there. They do big charity drives, and I think the last one brought in like $500,000 for their last charity drive. And being part of that community and growing with it was kind of crazy. So year one was a lot of fun, man. Like, I had the fondest memories of trying to figure out how to make it to get all the way to Crota. Doing the Thrall run, like, you remember that?
Yeah,
like,
yeah, I do.
Us running you through your Thrall run. In year one was real big about finding ways to manipulate the game so you didn't have to completely do it.
Right.
Like, as the Titan, I was able to, instead of doing all the lanterns on the Thrall run, I could jump up onto this black wall and just kind of get all the way past the Thrall run. They wouldn't chase me up there, and then I could manipulate the bridge at the very end, and as soon as there's a big ogre that spawns, I was able to pop my Titan shield, and then I had all the perks on to where it kept it on as long as it possibly could, and then I could just run across the bridge, and that would trigger the next area. Everyone else would just wipe, they'd all get their rewards, and then we'd start off in the new area. And then in the next area, I could manipulate that as the Titan as well, because I could get up on a ledge and I could grab the sword and just zoom all the way across the other side. So there's a lot of ways to manipulate that actual that raid,
right.
But they weren't easy to pull off. But if you could pull it off, I mean, you had to be pretty good at what you were doing. But if you could pull it off, it'd shave off like 45 minutes off the raid.
Yeah.
And I think that's when we brought you on. You came around right around the time that we had mastered these manipulations that we could do. And it may not have been the perfect way to expose you to the game, but nonetheless, you stuck around with it for a while. Tell me your experience in, like, you know.
Okay, so my experience with Destiny, I was a year 2 player. I came on board with the Taken King, but I remember that first year because we all worked together at the same job, And I remember you guys coming in and talking about the game, and
wouldn't shut up about it.
It sounded like you guys were talking a foreign language. Like the things you would talk about, like light levels and the gear and the names of stuff.
And honestly, going into it, like without anyone holding your hand, if you were going into it right now, you'd be like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, it can be a little overwhelming, but so yeah, I would listen to you guys talk and just have like no context whatsoever for like a whole year, and then
What is a Gallahorn?
Yeah, what is a Gallahorn? I have no idea. But I came on board on the Taken King, and full disclosure, I am not a first-person shooter guy. I've never been a fan of the genre. There have been very few games within the genre that can hold my attention for more than 20 hours. Destiny was was the exception, I would say. I've put more time into Destiny than I have any other first-person shooter that I have ever played, and I think that because it's got this great sci-fi feel to it, I think that's why I was able to stay invested in it so long. And it is a lot of fun being able to play with your friends. I can't say that the raids were particularly my favorite part of the game. In fact, it was probably my least favorite part.
Yeah, because it got you out of your comfort zone.
Right. I would have to sit in front of my TV for 5 hours with a bunch of people, which I'm an extreme introvert, so doing that is a little bit taxing for me. But it's so rewarding at the same time when you finally get to complete them. And it had such a breadth of game modes that you can engage in that it took me a long time to actually get bored of this game. In fact, at the time we had topped out our light levels. We were, we had gotten not the best gear in the game, but some of the highest level gear that we could get up until that point. And
I think we did have about the best gear.
By the time we started playing, they had introduced Sparrow Racing and some other things that we didn't get into, but we had gotten right to the point where we got our exotic swords.
Yeah, that was the thing. It was like, man, what a grind that was.
That was like what I wanted the most out of the Destiny.
That's what kept us in the game. Like, we wanted nothing more than those exotic swords. And then by the time we got the swords, it was like we were kind of done.
We didn't have any content left to explore after that. It would have been us doing like the hard mode raid to get the top.
Not even the hard mode raid. That's the next thing I was going to talk about is
Oryx.
Oryx.
That came out. Yeah.
Oryx. So to get to Oryx, man,
I never did it.
Neither one of us did.
Oh, you didn't do it.
As far as we made it, it was the Gorgon.
Right. Yeah.
And you had to shoot the things up in the air, and then you had to put damage on them and then get out of there.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of moving parts, and it's like one would have to steal the vision. A lot of moving parts, requires everyone to be on their game.
Right.
And I think we had the right armor. We need a little bit better guns. I think that was the hang up there.
Yeah, we were having trouble DPSing by that point, and we had a lot of coordination issues.
Yeah, too, a lot of coordination issues.
I don't think when we were doing that raid we had a really strong fire team at that point. I think we were just we were throwing people together and trying to get it done, and we never really got it because we didn't have good chemistry. But that goes back to what you were saying earlier about the community. You were absolutely right. I have never seen a community in a video game or on the internet, really, that is so supportive. When I would play the game by myself, and I actually was trying to get the exotic sword before you did, and I would go on that mission to get it and be hooked up with randoms who would be as patient as they could possibly be.
Can you believe that?
With a noob like me.
That's the thing.
I am terrible at first-person shooters, but they would be so patient and help me so much, like beyond any sort of typical patience I might have for any other human being, really.
Yeah.
But it was so encouraging, and I think that's what probably kept me in that game world for as long as I did, because usually I'm fairly intimidated going into like an online, multiplayer space where you have to interact with other people, because I'm very much a single player type video gamer. But I never really felt that sense of like, I don't really want to get on today because I don't want to have to interact with people.
Right.
It was like I could get on. I'm not gonna get harassed.
Exactly.
No one's gonna dog me for being a terrible player. They'll actually give me tips. They'll actually help me along and try to make me a better player.
There were times where there was frustration, like. Because there'd be one player that's like, okay, how many times did we tell you need to go to the right side and then the left side? Someone would always take the wrong side, and there was frustrations. But I never could think of a time where somebody was like, F you guys, I'm out of here.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I never once experienced that. And like you said, to hit back on that, like, people taking the time out to help you, even though there's no personal gain in it for them at all. Like, the area you're trying to farm, like, they've got everything they could hope for in that area, but they stick around to help you.
Yeah.
I just, it's just mind-boggling. And one thing I was gonna add to the conversation too is that I remember year one when I would play with my buddy Devane, and we had a pretty solid group of raiders that we all got on around the same time. And, like, we were playing together for, like, 2 or 3 months. So we all had memories together. And it was about that race to get the Gallahorn, right?
Yeah.
And
oh, my gosh.
It was an ongoing joke because I was the one that got trolled by the Gallahorn.
Yeah.
And, like, nobody could believe how many times I got shafted. We'd bring some new random onto our fire team. They'd get it and be like, oh, what is this? They wouldn't even know what it was. Right. And they'd be getting it right in front of my eyes.
That was the greatest inside joke of year one Destiny, that even though I didn't play the game, I knew about the Gallahorn and the struggle with it.
Man, that was my white whale, like almost to the point of, man, this game must be broken.
Right.
Because it's just like forgotten about me. And I remember by the time I got it, it was when House of Wolves expansion was coming out, and then the thing was obsolete, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't completely obsolete, but it pretty much was. It was like, by the time I got it, there was no hype around it.
Right.
And then my second White Wolf was to get the full Crota armor. Like, as a Titan, like, I could not get the damn boots to drop. And I literally got the gloves over 100 times. Okay. Not an exaggeration. So that's 100 different raids.
Yeah.
So, 100 different times, and those damn boots skipped me right around the time, again, that, House of Wolves comes out, I get the boots. And it was like, I don't even want these things anymore. I got such better boots than these. Right. But it was part of the fun, like such a unique experience that you can only have in Destiny.
Yeah.
And so because of that, we're going to be going back to the game, guys. We're super excited to announce that myself, Nate, Pedro, and Mike from the Square Gamer podcast, the 4 of us are setting out to create a new fire team. We're going to try to do a weekly raid. We don't know what day it's going to be yet. It's still in the works, but we want to get back in this game in a major way. The fact that there is 4 of us now that we can rely on to do these raids together, create the chemistry, and make some more memories together while bringing some members from the group into, we're going to be two people short, so we're going to raffle off those 2 spots every week from members from the group. So if you want to go on raids with us, head over to facebook.com/groups/the Square Gamers. Join us over there. If you're interested in going on raids with us, let us know. Like I said, we'll put your name in a hat. We're playing on PS4, so let us specify that. Right. So I'm really hyped to start creating some new memories in Destiny.
I am.
Tell me you're not ready to get that exotic sword back out.
I do. Okay. All right. Now that you put it like that, yeah, I kind of want to. I never really got to use it.
Exactly.
So, I'll be happy to get back on just to play around with my exotic sword. I am excited for this. I mean, it is a lot of fun.
Just like you said, we never had a solid raid group.
Right, and we have a chance for that now, so I'll have a new experience to take.
I can't wait to see who takes the troll now. Who's going to be the one that doesn't get the Gallahorn? Yeah. Who's going to be the one that just gets 50,000 pair of gloves and no boots?
Right.
I can't wait. One thing I'm not looking forward to is what was the one? It was elimination and it only came every Friday. What was that one called?
Oh gosh.
See, we've been away so long we forgot. Someone in the chat's probably just freaking out like, oh, it's this. Oryx.
You were asking the wrong guy.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna be able to come up with that.
I forget what it's called. Nonetheless, I'm not looking forward to that.
Okay.
Probably ain't gonna be doing too much PvP, are we?
Unless they had one game mode in PvP that I really liked that gave you your super back to back and
Mayhem.
Mayhem.
Yeah, Mayhem.
I would play that.
Rift is fun too. It's a unique twist on Capture the Flag. So we may toy around with that, but ultimately goals will be to do our weekly heroics and our raids and stuff. So, right. But we will dabble in some PvP. Anything else you want to add to this week's topic?
No, I think that about does it.
I'm stoked to get in there. While we've been doing this podcast, the update has been going in the background, and it literally just finished. And a thunderstorm's rolling in, so this is the perfect time to say goodbye, guys. But thanks for joining us. I think this is like episode number 5 or something like that. 4.
Officially.
Okay.
Next to each other, behind the camera.
All right, so episode number 4 of the Extremely Decent Video Game Podcast. Thanks for listening, guys. Nate, you got anything to add?
I'm looking forward to Azure Striker Gunvolt 2, which is coming out in the next little bit. I'll be more excited about it later.
We'll probably talk about that a little bit in the next week's episode. Guys, thanks for listening. We'll see you back next week. Have an extremely decent week.